going to be another unstructured one today where I'm just kind of working on my board game and talking about stuff loosely. I think I do want to make this into a streaming format eventually because there are a few people that quite enjoy it. I've also recently kind of, I don't want to say blown up because it's not that crazy, but that one video I made about roasting websites has gotten a lot of traction, but I don't really enjoy doing that a lot. It's okay, it's fun when the website is really bad, but roasting like okay to pretty good websites is just not that fun. And it's not fun to keep looking at them all day. I'd much rather actually work on something. So that does mean maybe my retention or what's it called, click-through on certain audiences will be worse, but who cares? I mean, I know there's a lot of like, I don't want to say core fans, that sounds so like self-serving, but like people they kind of go around the YouTube algorithms and just watch direct things, or they have certain parts of the YouTube recommender blocked or whatever. So I'm more dedicated to those core people like you. But the pointing angle is weird. Who, yeah, who just watch anything, no matter how like low effort it is. You're the sick ones that are going far in life. All right. So let's see what I have to do with this. I did a bunch of work off camera because the last video I felt like I was absolutely floundering in terms of work. And I guess I'll show that before really going through what I'm going to be doing today. So it's still on Voyage cards. Let me zoom out a little bit. This might be too big. So I open up the typed preview. You can see now I've got a whole season rendering 1 through 16. There's going to be 16 cards in the max 4-player scenario. And this table now used to be an SVG. I've fully rendered it using, I wish I knew how to say this, sets. And you can see it's like canvas drawing. It's almost like SVG code, and you can use loops and other program flow in there. This is really powerful and can let you draw anything arbitrarily. So you can see like if I were to, I don't know, crank something in my config, like I put that to 40, it would reflect immediately. So now I have a lot more arbitrary control. And same thing with these arrows here. I've actually been really enjoying using an actual mouse recently. My right hand feels a little weird, like carpal tunnel-y, and having like a curved mouse feels a lot nicer than a trackpad, which is unfortunate. I'm getting old already. But yeah, you can kind of see these arrows are all programmatically controlled too. So a direction with more wind movement power, so these higher directions have thicker arrows. You can see this 3 has like a slightly different stroke. I'm not fully happy with how this looks yet, but I do think it looks a lot better than the previous iteration. And then you can see also there are storms and pirates. This game is called Stormy Seas of Cyprus, and some of the cards will allow you to control storms on other people. So there's a storm icon. A lot of what I'm going to be doing, I think, is visual because I have a lot of the control down, or like the gameplay, I think, is pretty down. But there's still some like ugly inconsistencies. So this is very functional. Theme is just how many points this card is worth, and it's kind of a more complex. I'd have to explain a lot of the game rules, and I don't want to fully leak them yet. And then the priority is just kind of which cards are the best, basically. It doesn't look great though. It's very kind of prototype card. Oh my god, that's so soy. I can't believe that even appeared. Oh god. Maybe I will switch to Arch Linux. Just like building a whole PC is complicated. Oh, and the other day I was also trying to make video captioning for my shorts because I'm such a content creator. I need short form content sometimes. And it's really like difficult actually to find video captioning software that I can self-host easily. So if you can recommend like very accurate word level transcription that also includes words like and, you know, and doesn't like censor expletives. And also there's a problem with a lot of them I've found where if you say like a number or a symbol, they won't really be able to pick up on that and accurately transcribe it. I want to completely self-host it. I really don't want it on someone else's cloud service, both because I'd have to pay for that most likely, and just because, yeah, I'd rather not deal with all of that back and forth. So I did some research on it. I found like there's Whisper, obviously the transcription model, but there's a bunch of improvements on it. There's CRISPR Whisper, Whisper X, Faster Whisper, Whisper Timestamped, but all of them have just been like kind of annoying. And like yesterday I tried to get the weights and whatever for CRISPR Whisper, and the model's just so big. Like I tried to download it through Hugging Face, and it just took forever and like won't run on this computer because I don't have a GPU. So I might build like a computer with better specs for doing that kind of thing locally, just as an experiment, but that'll be a whole nother video in itself. Anyway, back to the Voyage cards. You'll notice these ones can control pirates and storm, but I want them overlaid in like a nice diagonal way, like kind of a diagonal through here so the pirates are on the top or whatever and storm is on the bottom. It's actually pretty difficult to do in types. I tried a bunch of different things, but there's no real good way to crop images diagonally. Probably is, I'm just like, I can see putting like a box around the image with clip on it and then rotating the box but not the image could maybe be a way to do that, and then placing them on top of each other, but I didn't figure it out. And what I want to do today, if you look at the to-dos, so I have, for a paper print setting, I talked about this a little bit last time, but this is going to be printed out on sheets of paper, like 9 by 11, so that it's like easily paper cuttable and play testable. And there's no point in printing all this color if we're going to do tons of iterations. Like we printed out 64 cards last time to test for like 20 minutes, you know, and then it's all kind of obsolete after that. So why like waste so much printer ink? It's not even my printer ink, it's the university's, but yeah, why even bother with that? So I kind of want to make like a black and white mode that's just toggleable. Let's see what else I have in the to-dos. To-do.type. Use named arguments. Okay, I kind of did that last time. That was basically, I've found just in terms of making code a lot more maintainable, there's, let's see if there's a good example of this anywhere. When you have a function, it has like 5 or 6 arguments and you're passing them to something, it's kind of unclear what they're supposed to do sometimes. Whereas if you have arguments like this, where it's like the name colon the thing, it's so much easier to maintain because you read it and you're like, okay, yeah, the width is 45 inches. Whereas I can't actually do this type, so I'll throw an error. But you know, if it was like 45 and then, yeah, height, like it was like this, like what does that even mean, you know? So the way you can do that in types I've found now is, I think there is, what did I do it? It's in the win table function where I do this, win table. Yeah, so in types you can kind of do argument syncs like TypeScript or Rust, and you just do like a .args. And then within here, you can see I'm just using this at method, which is just kind of like a get, it just gets a key. So I'm pulling out the theme points and the dangers, which are the storm and the pirates. And then if there's none, you can default. So this is an empty array, and then this just defaults to 1. So that's just super nice, and it means that, let's see, how do I go to all occurrence? GRR, okay. And then, yeah, you can see where I call it down here. Now that I have these theme points, like it says theme points, colon, and then the index. Whereas if I was just passing index, like it's easy to get confused, or not even get confused, but it's just like now every time, oops, you have to go kind of look at the function definition. Not that hard with GRR or GD, but then it's like I just wasted a move where if those were explicitly labeled, I would know what thing I'm changing. So yeah, that's kind of fixed, I think. Let's see, I can get rid of that. So let's try making the color, and also the way I'm currently laying this out is I could render the other seasons. I'm just rendering one for performance reasons. I think maybe this would crash if I tried to render them all, so I don't really want to do it. But down at the bottom here, basically, yeah, I'm slicing 0 to 1. So I could slice 1 to 2, and that should render the next season. Yeah, it renders spring, which is essentially the same with just a slightly different wind table, because different seasons, the wind blows different directions. And I could render multiple, but the performance bottleneck is these images are both quite high resolution, and they're being rendered not a ton of times, but with 16, I found it quite laggy. So I also think printing like high definition raster images on printer paper is kind of just a waste of resources. So what I was doing for a while, let's see, I guess I deleted it, but instead of having these two images, I could just say like, let's call this F equals, and then L, and then C, and then just like text. And then in here, we could just close, add settings later, and then just say like pirate. And then this would be storm. And we'll see if we do that, I should get rid of that image loading altogether. We should see just, yeah, it says pirate, it says storm. So that's like a lot later for it to load. It's a little annoying that's loading the way it is. Like storm is loading up there. I'm not sure why that's happening exactly. I guess we could go into the, I think it's danger icon and see what's going on. Okay, all right. I see. So it's got a place horizon center, and we can just say, well, instead of images add 0, we want images.join. So images.join, by the way, I guess I should just explain some of my types thinking so people aren't completely lost, because this is kind of a new language. The join function basically takes like an array of content, or an array of not content. Like it takes an array and then it just renders it all as content. So yeah, the images is just like pirates plus, what's it called? Storm. And then calling .join on it will just take all of the images in there and just put them together as content. In this case, because we're checking if length is 2, I know that length is 1. I still have to call .join, or I guess I could call .add 0, but I kind of like join just in case I eventually add 3, it won't like crash. So let's see if that fixed anything. Storm pirate. Okay, that fixed that case. Did not fix the top case very well, but I think that's pretty easy. All we really have to do is do the same thing here, basically. We'll copy this, paste it, go to the 0. I wish there was a way to, like, I feel like Control A, oh, it does jump to it. I tried to do that the other day, and I thought it didn't, but I guess I'm wrong. So now they're on top of each other, but what you can do in place, I'm pretty sure there's like a dy dx offset. Yeah, so we can just do like dy and then like 4 points. See if that works. Okay, that's kind of ugly. Let's try 8 points. Or you know what we could do actually to make this look better is split the difference. So we could do like dy negative 4 points, dy 4 points. And then we should see Storm Pirate. And I'll just, I think I'll make it like 6 or something. This looks horrible. Like this is not at all the final thing, but this is just for print. You know, you see, if you ever look at like test board games or like early iterations of things, they're all like really ugly looking. And you do the art kind of last, which I think is a mistake I often make. I spend a lot of time focusing on like the forward facing aesthetic and then kind of get, I know I definitely do that for CSS. Like I'd rather tweak my CSS for hours than actually mess with JavaScript. So yeah, I think that looks solid. And now I guess let's try rendering all of them just to see what the performance is like. So I get rid of this slice and we render all 4. Oh, here's some good examples of what I was talking about earlier with join. I think they'll be here. Oh, I don't actually have to join because I'm spreading. So in this page function, which makes it 45 inches long, 20 inches tall, I'm saying 4 rows, 16 columns. So that's why we're getting this grid. And then gutter is just gap in CSS. And then the Voyage config, the last argument to the grid function is the content. And actually to everything is the content. Like I think we could also do that here for pages and it would like know that it's content. I have to get rid of this hashtag because we're in script. But I think that works the same, yeah. So the last argument to any function is the content, like that. And it's actually an argument sync. So anything past this becomes content. And you can see this ... children says that. That's why I can do that ... spread on this whole array, and it just spreads the content into the grid, which is quite cool. And Voyage config up here just has season information. Well, it's actually a dictionary. So we've got seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall. And that's why I go keys. And then we take the keys and we map. So this will be like season, spring, summer, winter, fall. And then for a range, it's just going to be 16. We map the index and then pass that to the front with season. And front just takes both the card index and the season. Up there, you can see on line 19. And then at the very end of this, we're going to flatten. And the reason for that is what we just did is created a 2-dimensional array, because this mapping a season to a range is creating an array of arrays. And we call map in there too. Hopefully that made sense. Like I know that's a lot of information thrown at you at once. I've found this language quite intuitive. If you've ever done JavaScript, it's actually very similar. Yeah. So it looks like we've got our 4 cards looking nice. Still lagging a little bit because this background wave thing I think is a little unnecessary. And the way we can fix that is right here. We're loading that background. And instead, what we could do is make just like a blank image of the same size. So we could say, let BG equals just like a block, and then width, I think it's 2.5 by, it's 3.5 by 2.5 for poker cards. So 2.5 inches, height 3.5 inches fill white, which I think is the default, but let's just be explicit, and then go up there, comment that out. And yeah, that looks solid. It looks like that's rendering more cleanly. Still lagging a tiny bit, but that's fine. And just so that we get a clear border, I should probably put some kind of stroke on this. So I could do stroke 4 point. I think that's the syntax. Yeah, another interesting little piece of type syntax is it has like, it doesn't really have crazy explicit types like TypeScript does. You have to kind of memorize some things, but the way they set up the API is quite interesting. So this stroke variable can take just 4 points. It can take like a simple version of the argument. But let's say you wanted to change how thick the stroke is and how, like what color it is. So the way to do that is with a dictionary, and then you say paint and then black, and then you would say like thickness, I think, yeah, and then you do, let's do 3 point. And that's kind of just standard across the board. So same kind of thing with text. Like if you want to change the font and the size simultaneously, there's like simple versions. You can just say set font this text, set font 20 point to change something simple. But if you want complicated things, you can pass the dictionary, which I think is quite a cool API design. I think there's the same thing for inset, yeah, inset, and outset actually, which is really cool. See, it's saying it takes an empty dictionary. This is what this symbol means. And, oh, actually stroke is, yeah. I wonder if stroke I can do like right, or direction. Yeah, I don't remember exactly how that works, but like inset, you can set a dictionary and then do like, oh, here's how it would work for stroke. Here's how it would work. So I think if I did right 3 point, unexpected key paint, left top, right bottom, X, Y, and rest. Huh. So it probably wants like another dictionary here. So it's like thickness, and then in here I would just do right. Let's see. Expected length or auto found dictionary. All right. I'm not so sure how to do that on this one, which is awkward, but I don't have to do that. Here's what I was talking about. So if we enter down, it would be like inset, and you could just do like one EM, right? And then it would inset everything. I guess it's kind of hard to tell there, but let's do 4 EM. That would be easy. Okay, that does not look like anything. What if we do outset? Is this even applying? Okay, there we go. Or you could do it on one side. You know, you could pass, that's X, or we could do left, and then 4M. And then it would outset left. And then it's got a rest where you could do like 1M. So that API is just quite interesting. I don't exactly know the perfect syntax to fit in like the different stroke sides, yeah, like how to control that individually. I'm sure it's very similar. I'm just nesting one thing wrong. So yeah, other than that, I think this looks solid. We should maybe make this conditional rendering just so I don't comment and uncomment, which I think should be pretty easy. So we could just define a variable in, I guess, Voyage config. So we could do for paper print and say true. And then let's move this to the very top of the file, vap, delete, paste it up there. Okay, that looks good. What did it say? New wind value. Okay, new wind value is just a function because we had old wind values that are, this is actually quite an interesting function, grr. Okay, no references because it's above. New wind value right here. This is a cool thing to kind of explain, I guess. The old way that we were displaying the wind values was like this, top to bottom, like I think this northeast or northwest, north, whatever the other one is, east, west. Wait, what would it be? Because that way for me is north. The sun rises in the east, which is that way. So it'd be like this. So that this corner is east, this corner is west. Northeast, southwest, yeah. I think that's how that works. So yeah, we were counting like this, kind of across, but now in types in this drawing library, the coordinate system is reversed. So I had to reverse all of that, but it was like a weird reverse, and the way I did that was with this method called chunks. So I chunked it into 3, reversed the 3 chunks. So it reversed like the rows, but it didn't individually reverse. And then I just flattened them back and then mapped to new wind value, which just scales these. These are derived from like a paper about the sailing conditions in Cyprus, in and around Cyprus in different seasons. So yeah, that's got to be up there. And then let's take, okay, so there's a four paper print, and then we define kind of our background, pirates, and our storm. I guess those should also be kind of like fields on this, but we can define them afterwards. So we could say, like right here, if voyage config.for paper print, then we're going to assign some stuff to it. So we're going to say, let's grab this stuff and then go up here, paste that, indent. All right, so then instead of let pirate, I guess let's put it all in the config. I don't know if this is good practice or not. I'm just making stuff up. All right, so we've got those 3 things. Let's just add CT space and then voyage config dot. Okay, that did not work. I guess because it starts at the space. So what we could do instead is that to go to the first character and then CF space voyage, because C puts you in insert mode, config dot. Okay. And I don't know if we can just do that like that. I think we probably have to, oh, actually, you can re-reference the last selection like that, I'm pretty sure. So we want a dot at, so we do f dot a at parenthesis like that, escape f space I, right? F space I, yep, like that. Okay. Okay, it really does not like that for some reason. Let's see. Dictionary does not contain key pirate, use insert. Oh, okay, okay. That's easy enough. S/at/insert. Boom. Oh, and it probably instead of equals wants these. So let's do, who's scratching the walls up in there? It's like rats in the walls. H.P. Lovecraft type shit. F closing R comma, control V escape. Go to the end and then close parentheses. Yeah, someone is scratching the dickens out of the wall in there. Oh, and this is embarrassing. I forgot these equals signs. Let's just remove those manually. I was just showing off, to be honest. That could have been done manually very easily. But that looks solid. And then all we have to do is just add like an else clause and then insert these things. So let's paste those in there. Oops. Can we do GVGC? Okay, cool. And then let's try to do this in one shot this time, just for practice. I actually have leader n mapped to norm, just because I'm trying to be a real norm sweat. All right, go to the beginning. CT, CF equals, yeah. And then voyage config dot insert, and then a parenthesis, and then like that. And then, oh, we don't want to CF the equals. God damn it. You know, I'm just going to do this as a macro because I haven't done that in a while. I'm going to do a delete word, voyage config. Hopefully you guys don't mind, just can't say you guys, that's so content creator. Just messing around in Vim like this. All right, and then let's go, these are gonna be different lengths, so F space, and then like that, dot insert, and then a comma, and then F equals, and then delete, and then go to the end and close, and then let's go Q. And then if we go like this and do capital Q, should run on each one. All right, and it inserted let each time, so that's an interesting failure, but I'm just gonna get rid of that manually. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of dirtily. Could have done that manually, but doing everything Vim-wise will eventually reduce the pain, you know? Like, if you're pushing your ability like that every time, I'll slowly get more and more feeling and understanding for it. So I think it'll eventually practice it so much that it'll become kind of, what's the word? Like, I'll be able to do it so fast, just on the fly, in the moment, that it'll be completely fine. All right. I'm liking this so far, but we actually have to do something with this configuration. So if we change for paper print to false, which is weird, it's not getting syntax highlighted. Does it just think I'm like referencing text or something? I'll just restart. Well, I'll lose my preview. I think it's probably fine. So it's saying we're going to do that, else we're going to do that. Oh, it's because it's probably just referencing things that don't exist anymore. I bet we're going to get an error. Yeah, it's like BG, what's that? So we can do voyage config .bg, and then let's go. This bracket D to go to the next diagnostic, by the way, is awesome. Voyage config.pirate, bracket D, period, to repeat that. Oh, that was juicy. And we should see a massive amount of lag, so it's working. Beautiful. Not even that much lag either. Let's go back to false, true. Okay, for paper print, boom. A little bit less lag, but actually basically the same amount. I think I want to keep essentially this is kind of fine. I think I want to get rid of this cream color because that's also kind of a waste of ink. But this blue I think is a little bit nice to just keep it not so like harsh in the eyes. Same with these colors, it's not all that much to print. So that's a pretty simple fix just within the wind table function. Actually, there's a way to lay out wind table in your quick fix list. Is this quick fix or location? Location, so like that, I can traverse through them, and then I could do quick fix, no. Damn, I'm mixing things up. It's hard to talk and think. Wind table, and then go there, boom. Isn't that really cool? I need like maybe I have one defined. I'll check my vimrc to open quick fix list quickly. No, I don't. I need some kind of keybind to open it up. Let's see. Or maybe leader L. Is leader L being used for anything? I'll just try it. I don't think it is. Oh, it's being used for language format, LF. So that's completely fine. So I could do L location list to toggle it. How do you toggle your location list? Loc list. Damn, I just like immediately flawlessly transitioned without thinking into messing with my Vim config. See, it's a disease. All right, we'll deal with that another time. I'll just make a note of that. Binds for quick fix list toggle and loc list toggle. I'll know what I'm talking about, hopefully. Famous last words. Yeah, so where we set the creamy circle radius, fill colors cream. I think I can just do if, There are a lot of ways to approach this. I was thinking I could threshold all the colors in my color config, which if you jump to, it's like this. And I could just make something that's like white, black, white, black, white, black, and like do a color threshold value. I wonder if there's a method on color, like do darken, desaturate. Desaturate, that's it. Oh, this could be very cool. This could be extremely cool. Let's see if I can pull this off. So in the color config, if for paper print, we could do colors equals colors.map. Is it going to be okay with this? Because this is a dictionary. Yeah, it is. Equals colors.map. Well, maybe you can't call it on a, yeah, no map. but we could do colors equals colors. Because there's keys and then there's values. I wonder, colors, I could loop over it, but I kind of like a map. Let's see what methods dictionaries have. I guess I can do that by just doing a dot. So if insert keys, pairs, oh, pairs would be values tuple. You can just turn it into a tuple. Oh, it's a snippet. How do I expand snippets? Control E, Control Y. Okay, I don't even know. I haven't messed with that in a while. But I guess, this is an interesting dilemma. What I want to do is map it to, like, you know, pacify all the different colors. But what if I do this? So we use colors equals colors dot pairs, and then the pairs we can do dot map. Will it like that? Missing argument mapper. Okay, sweet, it will like that. So then I'm assuming it'll take like a tuple like that, and then we can go to a function down here. And then we do like a key value. Will it be okay with that? Missing argument v. I think maybe it wants another explicit tuple. So that's the colors, those are our keys. Beautiful. And then we can just return, is this allowed? If we return KV, what is colors now? Oh, I think that worked. Yeah, that did work. Okay, so then the value, which is a color, GRN, forgo rename, color. I'll just call it color. Well, color is already a thing. I'll just call it C. Yeah, that won't be confusing. And then opacify. No, not opacify. Desaturate. Oh, it was telling me what that does a second ago. Decreases the saturation of color by a given. How do I see the full? Damn. Show me what you do. Let's see. I think I might have to explicitly. Okay, they don't have docs for it. I'll open it. Desaturate by a ratio. Probably could have guessed that. So if we do 100%, will it just be black and white? If for paper print. Okay, I'm not sure that worked. What if it's 0%? Not sure that worked either, but I'm not even sure if this is like rendering. So let's do high. I don't even know where that would go, actually. It might be just up in the corner, but it doesn't look like it's rendering. I wonder if that's because if for paper print is true, so okay, it should be rendering. Then we check colors. It looks like they're different than what they are defined as over there. So if we switch, that's F9, F1, and here it's F9, F1, DF. Wait, maybe that did not work. It should work, but it doesn't seem to be. Well, I'll try something that I know works, like opacify. Let's try 50%. So that doesn't work, and that must be because something in the way I'm assigning this colors is not working. Let me quickly check for diagnostics. There we go, that explains it. Should always check for diagnostics. Cannot access fields on type array, and that is because, very simply, yeah, this is not the correct way to set up a dictionary. There's probably a better, like, dict map. Maybe dict map is actually a function. I'll check that, actually. Colors dot dict, or dot, yeah, okay, no way to map dicts like that. So the better way, I think, is going to be to, instead of assigning colors, in here, let's actually just do a for loop. I'm trying to be all fancy and functional, but for loop would work better. So if we do for key double tuple, key color in colors. And then in here, if we check, is this the correct type? Yes, it is. So then we can just reassign. Let's get rid of all this map stuff. Let's just do colors.at or .insert, or is it .update? I think we can just do add and then equals. So .at key equals, and then c.desaturate. Is that allowed? Extra paren, but let's check. Okay, it doesn't seem to have worked. If we check colors, oh, it's also 0%. Oh. Boom. That's awesome. That is fucking awesome. A little bit of floundering, but that was so worth it. Yeah, so don't try to be fancy and functional. Sometimes imperative does better than declarative when you're trying to deal with all this nasty reassignment and in-place mutation and shit. So yeah, I like that quite a lot. But our titles are still, it would be nice if the titles were completely opacified. And I think that's because, oh, also this title size should totally be on the Voyage config now that everything else is. That should be an easy fix, and then we can just go like that to the next, equal sign rather than colon. Next diagnostic, Voyage config dot next diagnostic. It was only used there. Sweet. Fill voyage config dot seasons dot at dot season dot primary. Interesting. So this is kind of a stupid maneuver. Oh, this is really dumb because this is set up as colors.winter, where we're kind of assigning down here, we're mutating colors itself. So, oh God, that is awkward. Fuck. It makes me think, because now we have one thing drawn from the Voyage config, one thing drawn from the color config. Kind of makes me think that we should just mutate the Voyage config and not our colors, actually, because that'll have unwanted side effects later on, most likely for other print things, which probably won't be a big deal, but just in case. The better solution here would be to set the colors field, but can I reference an earlier field? Like if I do primary and then I do like Voyage config dot title size, I don't think so, because it's like it's not set up yet. Man, this is an awkward problem. Maybe I'm trying to be too clever here with this big Voyage config thing and this colors primary. Or, oh, wait. What if, so I set, I kind of like these capital keys, I don't know why. So what I could do is for these seasons, and we'll deal with this later for other things, I could do like a G uppercase word, and then that's nice. Could have used visual block there too. And then we'll go here, and then instead of having a primary field, which I wonder if there's a cool way I can do this. V inside block, V inside block, norm. No, not norm. G slash primary slash D underscore to not clever registers. Yes. Boom, G command usage correctly. And then now we're going to get an issue because we don't have this anymore. But instead, what we can do is basically reference colors dot, and then what did we have? We have at season. Yeah, so we can just change this colors dot at season, and we don't need primary, I don't think. We just need a comma there. Boom, worked perfectly. So now we have a good for print setting. And this summer color also looks pretty, I want to change this at some point. If we go back to the for paper print and then set that to false, we should get a bunch of lag and it should update. Wow, my GPU is absolutely throttling. I don't have a GPU, that's probably why. So everything loads. Oh, after the initial load, it's not all that laggy. But this spring and summer don't have as much contrast as winter and fall. They look all right on this screen, but on the color wheel, these are a little too close, I think. Whereas the opposite of red is green, but like a darker green, or the opposite of, no, the opposite of blue is like an orange. So this summer could be more orangey. This spring could be more of a deeper forest green. I want to make them both deeper anyway. So that's a good thing to try, color theory wise. So let's go into where the colors are defined and want to darken this. Let's just find like a nice dark color in Figma. So in Stormy, this is like low opacity or something. What's going on with this? Why is it so dark? Yeah, I don't know. But that spring is, if we get a different spring, and then make that size 160 or so, just for contrast. I'm not worrying about the font. I just want to get a nice dark green. I'm just going to kind of pick one randomly, and it can be changed later. Like a green, like a deep royal kind of forest. And it's hard to see in that contrast. I'm just going to go like that. That's a solid, and then let's copy and paste. I don't even care if it's the same text. Want more of like a golden orange rather than a yellow. A deeper, let's go a little more into orange for summer. Like a darker orange. I'll try those colors for now. It's really hard to see, and there's definitely a better color theory way to do this. But what I'm gonna do is, okay, that looks all right. Yeah, that does look a little bit better. What I'm gonna do is consult someone who actually knows colors at some point before this fully goes out. Yeah, I think that's slightly better, slightly more readable. And let's see if we go into, oh, I can just undo. That was the last change I made. Yeah, I think that's slightly more readable. It's still a little faded, but I think for print, this is great. Another little thing I cannot figure out for the life of me is this outline on that circle, but I think that's all right for now. This video is dragging on quite a bit. So if we go back to the to-do, I actually now have, someone put me onto this workflow-wise, is having a buff pick so that you can go through your buffers, and I found that's just nicer than Harpoon. So I have the leader S to switch, capital S to split, and then I also can then just go through the buffers. And I also added recently, like, I think Alt plus HJKL for dynamic resizing of buffers. Still getting used to that. Yeah, so I also have capital Q to buff delete, which is kind of nice to get buffers out of this picker when I accidentally open up something I don't want, like this PDF or whatever. And then it's like, oh, it's annoying it's in there, and then capital Q removes it because it's buff delete. That also means it doesn't quit out of Vim, so now I have leader capital Q for write quit all. Let's see, but I'm still not fully happy with that because sometimes like I just hit leader Q instinctually and then it does something weird, kind of like what I did earlier where I capital S and then I do like buff delete and then it goes to the next buffer in the list, and I kind of wanted it to just close the split. So it's a little awkward. Let's see. Yep, fixed the colors, added that. I think that's solid. Anything else I can do Voyage-wise? I don't think so. That was the main stuff I wanted to implement. I guess one last thing would be to rearrange this back into a printable configuration. So if we go back to our Voyage file, we now have this setting for 4-paper print. So what we can do is create a different config. So we can do, let's set up our page in such and such a way. So I guess this is as simple as just doing like a if Voyage config dot for paper print, and then we'll go like that, and then else, and these should actually be inverted, I think. The reason this is complaining is this now should be like that. Oh, no, like that. No, we don't need this hashtag. And then let's vap delete paste that down there, and paste a copy of it up here. So that's our kind of testing mode, and this should be our for print. So we want the same amount of stuff spread, but I think what we want is instead 3 by 3. I think that's how many you can fit on a page. We'll try it, and it should be just traditional 9 by 11, which I think is just the default. So if I get rid of this stuff to DTG, damn. Go back to where I did that. I don't know. My brain is now kind of fried. DTG again, period. Okay, G was like the worst letter to pick there, but let's see if we've got this. No, it is not updating yet. If for paper print, oh, that's because I was literally tweaking the wrong one. That was dumb. So I guess what we can do is go like this and then run a move command to send it to line, oh, I don't actually know. I guess send it 21 lines up. All right, invalid range. Wait, what was wrong about that? I don't know. I'll just move it the old-fashioned way. I was trying to do something cool, but it backfired. Such is life. Okay. Wow, that looks awful. And I wonder why that looks so awful. Is it because our margins are too big? If we do margin 0, would that look good? Or is it because the page breaks aren't explicit? Well, those are two things to try. So the page could do margin 0M. That does look, yeah, it's something weird is going on. Why are those getting pushed off? It's because it's all happening on one page and the breaks are happening automatically. So I think instead of wrapping this explicitly in a page, the move would be to go like that. So we're just rendering a grid, and then above here, we could use a move me, set page margin 0M. And then, would that work? I don't know if it would. So the grid, oh, it's because we're spreading into this grid, and the grid is, so the order which with the spreading going on is just not optimal here. What we want to do is every iteration of cards, every 9, we want to put it into its own grid. So let's use another for loop because that worked out well earlier. 4 cards in, now how are we doing this? For each season, we want to do 4 seasons in season, or 4 season in seasons. So now we have a season loop, and it should be voyage config.seasons, or voyage config.cards. No, what is it? Map. Oh, voyage config. I feel like my brain is falling apart towards the end here. .seasons. .keys. Voyage config.seasons.keys. Okay, so then we have a season. And then for I in range 16, we want to drop the hardest front season I. And it should be fine with that. And now we just need some basic styles. So we can probably grab this grid like that. And then we want that kind of around here. And then we want to just spread our for loop like that. And is it going to be okay with that? Oh, this is freaking it out. Can get rid of all that. I think we're good there. And get rid of that extra parenthesis. What is it not like? Cannot spread content. Okay, cannot spread content. Why can you not spread content? Oh, I see. It might be better to do like a map syntax for this actually. So we could do range 16.map I, and then go like that. And then that seems to be a little better. Let's see if that fixed anything. All right, doesn't appear to have. Set page. I guess we want an explicit page now that we're doing this. So we could do set page, or just page like that, comma, wrap it like that. So then there's explicit page break. Still getting some weird behavior though. Oh, fuck. Man, this is confusing. My brain is so fried. I'm like just making the wrong decisions now, but it's obviously that's just the exact same thing. What we need to do is chunk it into pieces of 9. So if we were to render all cards, let's think about like an array. So we do seasons. Okay, wait, I gotta think about this. I'm typing too much and not thinking enough. So there are a total of 4 seasons, 16 cards each. If we just render that all out and then flatten it, so kind of take what's done here, take like this whole array, and then yank that and just paste it here. Instead of spreading, we'll do let cards equals, and we should get something like a bunch of 16 things, and it's all flattened, right? And then we could do dot chunks. Actually, let's explicitly loop over that. For chunk in dt like that, and then cards.chunks 9, right, like that. And then in here we'll do for chunk, so we render the page, and then we'll just map over the chunk. So we'll do like chunk.map, and then and then season will be just the current card. So chunk dot at what am I for chunk and chunks? Damn, this is confusing. Chunk dot map I, chunk dot at I. Doesn't like that as an index. Expected integer found content. Expected integer found content. What are you talking about? For the index, is I content? Oh, yeah. Damn, I forgot about that. So how do we know what season it is? Dot seasons dot map. Why is this so confusing? So we're mapping the season into a range, into a front with the season and I. Oh, why am I even handling this season here? What am I even doing? Too much typing, not enough thinking. So now, this 53-minute video. This can take forever to upload, but that's fine. So everything is being mapped to fronts at season. So I don't even have to do that anymore. I don't know why I was even thinking about doing that. All I have to do is literally spread chunk in there. Okay, that fixed it. Man, that shows what happens when you don't think. Also, one last change just to make this nicer. We can just align all our content center. So we've got a grid here, but we could do align. Center plus horizon, add a comma, go down, and then add a final closing parenthesis. Yeah, that looks solid. That's ready for print, and then we should see. Okay, it's a little bit goofy, but I'm fine with that. How many cards are we getting? We should be getting 4 times 16, which is, I can do that. 40, 24, 64. Oh, that's obvious. Yeah, 64 cards. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 3, 21. Wait, no. 7 times 9, 63, 64. Okay, yeah. That checks out. And then let's change this to false, make sure that our other like debug printing for offline is still working. And we should see, after an immense amount of lag, but that's fine. It gives me the chance to talk about other things. Okay, that wasn't bad at all. Boom, back to the debug status. That is awesome. And then back to print. Boom, printable cards. Sweet. That's pretty cool. All right, that's about all I have for this one. I'm gonna work on getting a stream set up, but I'd love to hear your feedback if you're one of the 3 people still watching at this point. Yeah, like I don't know even where to stream. Yeah, I guess people stream on YouTube and Twitch. Some people host their own streams, which seems like something I might do, but I'm honestly not all that much interested in setting that up. And yeah, I don't know. I also just worry about my audio quality and whatnot for streaming. So once I'm secure in all of that, I'll try a couple of private streams and then launch one. I'd also be interested in hearing what times are like best to stream. I don't want to conflict with other people's streams or whatever. But yeah, that's basically it for this one. I'll catch you next time.